Fall is in the air. Are you guys ready for fall and Halloween? Because I am so excited I can hardly stand it. So today's video is going to be a part 1 of part 2 series where we do a fall inspired makeup look using makeup you probably already have. There's a lot of FOMO going around nowadays with kind of the pressure to feel like you have to buy every single new release that comes out. But there's actually a palette that I find most of you will probably already have in your collection. And if you don't, right now it's on sale for $6. That's right, just over $6. So if you love affordable fall makeup, then this video is definitely for you. And while we create this fall inspired makeup look, the topic of the day is going to be Medicare. Because yes, open enrollment is right around the corner. It actually starts October 15th in the States. Now, even if you're not 65 or above 65 yet, don't go running away for the topic of the day because you might learn some new information that you could tell your parents or grandparents that they didn't know. So if you're excited to get started with this fall-inspired makeup look and learn a little bit more about Medicare, then don't forget to hit the like button and let's get started right now. So today's look is going to be all about the eyes. And the palette I'm going to be using today to create this fall/winter look is none other than the BH Cosmetics Original Zodiac Palette. Now don't fret, because if you actually do not have this palette in your collection already, but you were interested in picking it up, if you're watching this video towards the end of September, right now, this palette is on sale for $6.75. That's right, under $7. So just to show you guys what this palette looks like, just in case you have not yet ordered it and tried it out yet, it is absolutely beautiful. Now, yes, the packaging itself and the whole brand of being about zodiac signs is beautiful, but when you actually take a look at the shades in here, it is just a beautiful palette. There's a ton of matte shades right here in the middle, and then the very center is a highlighter shade, and then in the outside are beautiful shimmers. And you definitely have a full collection of a split between cool colors, warm colors, and neutral colors. So I'm so excited to revisit this palette, so let's get started. So the first shade I'd like to get started with is the matte shade from the Aquarius line. So as you can see here, around the palette are all the names of the zodiac signs. And what's really nice is each of the names have both a matte and a shimmer. So if you have troubles figuring out, what to pair with your mattes and shimmers, this palette makes it super simple. So the shade we're going to get started with is the matte version of Aquarius, which is kind of this warm light brown shade. So let's get started with applying this in the transition. Okay, so I've got you guys zoomed in. So I'm going to put my cat ears headband on. In case you're wondering where I picked up this headband, it actually was from a collection last year from the drugstore, and it came included with an eyeliner from L'Oreal. I really hope they bring it back because it was nice to have a really nice black eyeliner along with the headband. So the brushes I'm going to use to get started are actually from the e.l.f. Mint collection. It was a set of 3. So the first brush I'm going to use is this fluffy blending brush. But why I like this brush from the e.l.f. Mint collection is because instead of it being extremely round, it's a little bit more pointed. So it creates a wonderful definition just because of the shape of the brush. So I'm just going to dip my brush in. Holy cow, I forgot how pigmented these shades are, and man, I picked up too much. So let me tap a little bit of this off, and let's start applying that shade in the transition. Now the only thing I have on my skin right now is a moisturizer, and my brows are done, and other than that, I'm just wearing my Holy Grail e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer in the shade Rose. This matte shade is the perfect transition shade. And even though it's a little bit more neutral on my cool skin, it doesn't come across very warm, which is always a great thing because you guys know I love my cool undertones. So the next brush I'm going to use is the e.l.f. Detail Crease Brush. which I believe was only $3 or $4, and it's perfect for that outer corner. And the next shade I'm going to go in with is the matte shade from Scorpio, which has this deeper red undertone. Now don't forget, these shades are extremely pigmented, so if you are fair like me, I definitely recommend going in with a light hand. So I'm just going to tap in just a little bit. Alright, let's start to create some definition. And I am focusing this more on the outer V and kind of that outer crease. I don't want to extend it too much to the inner portion of my eye. I also want to mention about this e.l.f. Detail Crease Brush. If any of you have hooded eyes, I highly recommend this brush. Not only is it affordable and does it perform well, but it's a lot smaller than your typical crease brush. So if you have only a little bit of real estate to work with, it makes it so much easier. So I'm going to build this up just a little bit. And I'm just going to go back in with that original e.l.f. mint brush and just blend everything out a little bit. I find doing my makeup and eyeshadow is so relaxing. Honestly, you guys, I look forward to doing my makeup every day. I don't feel as motivated unless I have kind of a full face on and I'm fully dressed. I know a lot of us can stay home and wear our pajama bottoms, but I just don't find I'm, as efficient in my workday unless I fully get ready, even if I don't have to leave. Okay, if you guys know me, I am all about creating quick, easy makeup looks. So we're already done with the base shade. So next I'm going to cut the crease with my Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in the shade C4. And in case you're wondering what I'm going to cut my crease with, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Eyebrow Duo Brush. It has a flat eyeliner brush that I find is very easy to cut the crease, and on the other side is a spoolie. So I'm just going to dip in, and when I cut my crease, I always go above where my natural socket is, especially with having slightly hooded eyes. It creates the illusion that your eyes are bigger, which is always a plus as we age, right? Just a quick tip, if you ever have trouble cutting the crease and you realize that you kind of went over a little bit, if you take another fluffy brush and you just kind of pat it out a little bit, it helps to even everything out. So I went about 2/3 of the way in. Okay, so next, let's go into the shimmer shade of Aquarius. Now this shade is absolutely beautiful. It has kind of a reddish green undertone, and in fact, if you guys don't have this palette, but you have the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Moonwalk, this is very similar. So if you have that shade, you can use that instead. So I find the easiest way to apply these shimmers is just to take my ring finger and pack it on. So this is what that Aquarius shade looks like with kind of a greenish red tint. So I'm just going to pack that on about 1/3 of the way in. Okay, so now that Aquarius is on, now let's go into the shimmer shade of Scorpio, which is this warm autumn color. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, all of these shades are honestly gorgeous, but I love this combined with the Aquarius shade because it creates that really nice fall look with oranges and greens. So now I'm going to focus the Scorpio shade, which looks like this, so kind of a rusty copper shade, and I'm going to focus this on the outer half of my lid. Okay, so now to merge those two shimmer shades together, right down the center, we're going to go in with the shade Capricorn, which is a deeper green shimmer next. Same thing, really simple, just going to dip my finger in and pat that down the center. Alright, so next we are going to combine Capricorn and Pisces. So the Capricorn matte shade is this beautiful deep green, and the Pisces color for the matte is kind of a deeper brown with a little bit of red undertone. So I'm going to mix the two of these and apply that as eyeliner on the upper lid. You guys, this palette, I just have to say really quick, It is unbelievable. The mattes, the shimmers, the inner highlighter, everything about this palette is just amazing quality. And there's such a variety of shades. Honestly, I could use this palette the rest of my life and be happy. It's just that good. And that taupey green shade is so beautiful. If any of you have brown or blue eyes like I do, oh, it just stands out so beautifully with that green shade. Okay, so next I'm going to take this ColourPop blending brush and just kind of go over with no product on there, just to blend everything out closer to the brows a little bit. Okay, so next for the brow bone, I'm going to mix the shimmer shade from Virgo and Taurus. So Taurus is kind of a more taupey shimmer shade, and then Virgo has a little bit of warmth to it. It's kind of more of a pinky taupey shade. So I'm just going to go between those two for the brow bone. Okay, so this next step is completely optional, but just so you know what I'm doing, I want a little bit more of a highlight for the brow bone. So I'm going to use the Prophecy highlighter, the Space Age highlighter from COLLABS, which if you've never tried this highlighter, on first look, it just looks white, but I'm going to swatch it on my hand, and it has the most beautiful duochrome shift between orange, green, a little bit of pink. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to apply that to the brow bone and be right back. Okay, so for the lower lash line, we're basically going to recreate the shades that we use on the matte for the upper. So I'm going to mix the Aquarius and Scorpio shade, which were these two brown shades, and I'm going to use that on the outer portion, and then I'm going to go into this green shade, the matte from Capricorn, and put that towards the inner portion of my eye. So for the lower lash line, I love using this AOA from Shop Miss A, and it is a number E111 brush, and it works phenomenal for both contour for the nose as well as the lower lash line, and this is only $1. So we're sticking on a budget today, guys. Okay, so lastly for the eyeshadow, I'm going to use that same Space Age Prophecy highlighter for the inner corner. If you don't have that Space Age Prophecy highlighter from COLLABS, no worries. There are so many shimmer shades in here that you could use, including this inner shade right here, which is more of a white shimmery color, I guess, that would look beautiful on the inner corner as well. So just to give you guys a couple different options. So I'm just going to pack that on with this Sonia Kashuk brush. This is a perfect brush I picked up from Target for doing that inner corner highlight. It just works beautifully. So I just wanted to show you guys up close, whenever I do my inner corner highlight, because I've gotten a few questions about this. So what I do is I kind of start towards the inner portion of where my nose bridge starts and go back like this, but then I also go up and down. So it creates almost like this cat eye effect, but instead of having to use a dark eyeliner, which just does not look good on my fair skin and blonde hair, this is a great way to kind of do that faux cat eye look, but with highlighter. Alright, I just wanted to give you guys a close-up of what the eyeshadow looks like before applying any mascara. So this is what it's looking like. Yes, my skin is super pink right now. What can I say? I'm a cool tone gal. So I'm just going to finish up my other eye and the rest of my complexion products and apply this Essence Lash Princess Mascara, and I'll be right back. Hi everybody, so I just finished the rest of my makeup, and I wanted to give you guys a close-up of what this autumn winter eye look looks like up close. So here you go. This eye palette is just beautiful. It is seriously one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes I've ever purchased. So as you know, I always keep everything pretty neutral, natural looking, but you can definitely smoke this out and do it even more dramatic than I did. But what do you guys think? Do you like it? Do you not? I'm just loving these warm and cool tones together. For those who are here for the topic of the day, today we are going to discuss 3 myths regarding Medicare. Myth number 1 is that Medicare starts at age 62. This is in fact false. The reason this myth often gets misconstrued is because the earliest age you can start receiving Social Security benefits is age 62, whereas with Medicare, the earliest age is 65. However, there are always exceptions. So, if you are under the age of 65, but you have been on disability for a consecutive 24 months, then you could in fact be on Medicare and also be under the age of 65. But for everyone else, it's 65 for Medicare and 62 for Social Security, if you decide to start taking benefits at 62, of course. Myth number 2 is that Medicare covers 80% of all out-of-pocket expenses. This is in fact, sadly, false once again. So just a quick side note, when you ever hear someone discussing original Medicare, what they're referring to is Part A of Medicare, which is typically paid for from your FICA taxes, which covers some hospitalization costs, whereas Part B, you typically have a premium to pay, unless you are, of course, on Medicaid and getting government assistance, and Part B covers the medical side, so anything that's done by a doctor or in a hospital. Now, Medicare is pretty expensive, but just to keep it in layman's terms, I think the reason that this myth often gets kind of misconstrued is because, yes, there is a rule with Medicare Part B that Medicare does cover 80% of costs. However, there is an annual deductible that is not included in this 80%, but with Medicare Part A, with the hospitalization, that 80% rule goes out the window. It does not apply to Medicare Part A. Myth number 3 is that Medicare or original Medicare covers prescriptions. This is in fact, again, sadly false. Now, Medicare Part D is not really considered part of original Medicare. So when someone says Medicare Part D, what Part D is referring to is a separate insurance that works with Medicare and helps cover the cost of prescription drugs that are administered by the pharmacy. So just to clear up any of this confusion, if you were to go to the doctor and have a prescription or some sort of injection, for example, at the actual doctor's office, that typically falls under Part B of Medicare, where say you need an insulin filled, that insulin would fall under Part D because you are filling that prescription at the pharmacy. So quick recap, when someone says original Medicare, they are referring to Part A and Part B of Medicare. Part D is also part of Medicare, but it is a separate insurance that works with Medicare itself.